Welcome back. Another episode of the Third and 20 Dynasty podcast. Had to look at the episode number, not gonna lie, because I completely forgot, especially after the draft stream. No idea what episode we're on. Season 3, episode 39. That's pretty crazy, to be honest with you.
We've been at it for a while there, buddy, and let's keep grinding, right?
Yeah, so, all right. Crazy news. After the draft, we're going to be doing our post NFL draft rookie mock. It's just me and Jake, so we're going to go back and forth. I mean, I don't know if do you want to just get started into the mock or just like I guess quick recap of some takes maybe?
Sure. I mean, I don't know what takes you really got. It's just been the draft, so I don't know if you have any specific surprises you want to talk about.
Let's just do it when we get there. Do you want first pick or second?
Coin flip. Who do you want? What do you want?
I do have a coin. I'll take heads.
All right.
It is heads. I don't know if I didn't flip it, but I mean I did flip it. I didn't flip it after. You get what I'm saying. For if you watched on the stream, you get what I'm saying. Fedora Frank got a cigar or a mob, so we're going to the Kentucky Derby, and this is my hat that I've chosen. I ordered it way too late, so it was one of the few options that would come within one day before we left. 101. I'll take 101. And the question is, does it change? Has the NFL draft influenced the Frank's opinion? Who I was close to already putting Bryce Young over Bijan to begin with.
Really? That close?
Very close. But the answer is no. I'm going to be taking Bijan at 101. I think, and I was telling this to Jake before the pod. It's that what if you have some context in your draft where it's like, oh, you're a really quarterback needy team, or oh, I'm a team that's not contending, so Bijan is a waste on my roster. I know that that's kind of like a take that I've seen. I think I consensus see floating around for teams drafting running backs in general. The issue is that I think Bijan is the safest player in the draft. When you look at his range of outcomes, not that the other picks aren't. Jake, be honest with me. There's no chance he's not worth a first next year, barring something completely catastrophic.
No, I mean this man would need his legs to be literally cut off for him not to be worth a first next year. But I see the argument here, right? So like if you're a QB needy team and you're sitting at 101 here and you're struggling to make a trade back, to 2, 3, or 4 really to grab any of the other quarterbacks here for whoever wants to come up for Bijan, and you're just saying, you know what, Bijan's not going to help me win. I need to figure out my quarterback position. I'm going to just take whatever quarterback I have, and congratulations, 102, you just lucked out, right? And I've even seen some drafts on Twitter and Reddit where Bijan doesn't go to 104 because everyone wants to take the quarterbacks, right? So, I mean, I think the popular pick here is to take Anthony Richardson 101 just because he has that massive upside with the rushing potential compared to Stroud and Young, who are more pocket passers, let's call them. They obviously run a little bit, but not nearly as much as Anthony Richardson does. So, I agree with you. I think Bijan is the safest pick in this draft, but at the end of the day, if you are a team that needs a quarterback and really values, the positional value of the quarterback in a super flex league, I do understand it, and I'm not going to blame you for passing on a running back that may only have 5 years in the league as an RB1, right?
I don't know, because I think that Bijan's value is just going to go up as we get into the season when the rubber meets the road. Who's scoring your points? Bijan is guaranteed to score your points. He's locked and loaded in a spot where he's going to be an RB1. He's going to get catches. I mean, this guy he's set up to be a top 5 running back day one, if not even higher. You can't say the same about 99.99999% of players that get drafted in rookie drafts.
You're correct. And at the end of the day, I still have Bijan as my 101, but I was just playing devil's advocate of why people are doing it, right? Because I think it's going to be hard to trade down 2 spots, 3 spots to the 102, 103, 104, just because people are content sitting there taking quarterbacks and they're like, okay, I don't mind it, unless some a random contender that already has his quarterbacks for some reason in your league has one of those picks and wants to just go out all out and get a Bijan to just put a cherry on top of his championship roster. I do think it's going to be a struggle to trade down a few spots and get what it's worth. Because I mean, what's the difference to you, pick wise between 101 and 103, right?
Yeah, I
What are
do
you gonna?
agree with you. It's a
What?
nightmare trading down in this draft from the very
It's
tippy top.
impossible. It's impossible. Like you're just gonna what? You pick up a second,
You just
maybe.
have no leverage as a rebuilding team. The contending teams are completely fine going BPA at their pick and adding their top end quarterback. I completely agree with you there. But that being said, I think it's a reach to go with one of the quarterbacks. I love these quarterbacks, right? If you're a team that, oh, you want to get in on these quarterbacks at their current cost, by all means go ahead. You're going to have to overpay a little bit, but they have all the potential in the world. I think Richardson, Stroud, and Young, all good prospects. And this is someone who was like trying not to be in on quarterbacks after getting bitten in the ass by the 20 some of the 2021 quarterbacks, at least. Like T Laws panned out. I didn't invest in Justin Fields, so it didn't pan out for me. But my Lance shares, my poor Zach Wilson shares, they're so down in
I
the
was
dumps.
never in on Zach Wilson. That one was all you, buddy.
Yeah, that was. I mean, at least we sold him in our orphan league, but that was an easy sell.
Somehow, yeah. I mean, we got Kyler out of it, so that was a win. Big
Right.
W.
But at the end of the day, especially this notion that if you're a rebuilding team, go with the quarterbacks. I can agree with you that the upside is there, but I think the risk is too high. As a rebuilding team, I'm looking to make risk less moves. Okay, if you can't trade down, cool. Just take Bijan and trade him later. The guy's not going to. I think he's only going to go
Yes.
up from here. When
Yeah. I
people
mean that.
see, oh shit, this Bijan is outscoring whatever running back I thought was going to be nasty for me.
I mean, yes, at the end of the day, I think that is the play here at 101. If you want a quarterback, you just take Bijan, let the training camp come around, all the hype's going to come around, let him go a few weeks into the regular season. He's going to score a couple touchdowns, he's going to have some big games, and then you'll be able to trade him for even more. His price isn't going to go down for a while. I know he's already at running back 1 on keep trade cut, so like he can't go that much higher, but like listen, if he separates himself from the likes of a Jonathan Taylor, from the likes of a Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, who took a big hit with Charbonnet getting drafted there, in my opinion, like if he separates himself that much, I think we'll end up seeing a similar gap that we see with the receiver position between Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and then there's a big gap between.
I think that's the point that I was trying to make. You made it better than me. It's that yes, he is the running back one. Yes, like if one of these quarterbacks hits long term, their value is going to be higher 3 or 4 years from now. But that is, as shown, almost impossible to predict. And I agree exactly what you're saying. You look at the startup drafts right now. Yeah, there's a tier gap, but it's not. It's nowhere near as big as it should be. I mean, you look at the
No,
pick. Bijan's a late first. Brees Hall is like a mid early second. Whatever
right.
your RB2 is kind of going in that mid second round. That is not enough. I agree with you. Bijan should be pushing that middle late first where you're like really questioning shit. Should I really take Justin Fields over him? And
Right.
those other
We
running
need to.
backs being
Yeah.
drafted late second.
Yep, exactly. So I mean, I think he'll get there, and at that point, his value will have gone up from this moment, and I think you can trade him into a quarterback of your choosing, whether that ends up being Bryce Young, whether that ends up being, you know, Patrick Mahomes. I don't know what it's going to be, but like at least you'll be have seen the rookies play a few games at that point. You would have seen what Bijan looks like, how elite is he going to be, and you're going to have a better idea of his value in terms of what you could trade him into.
There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time. You've got for Bijan, you've got two. If you're a rebuilding team looking for value and you ultimately want to trade Bijan, you've got 2 years basically where
Yeah,
you're going to be able
yeah,
to get premium value.
yeah.
All right,
Anyways,
102, you're up.
102. All right, I'm gonna just stick go chalk here. I'm taking Bryce Young at 102 here. Um, 101 in the NFL draft. To get him 102 in a fantasy draft in a super flex league feels pretty good. I just think he's a great player. I think he has the lowest bust potential of all three quarterbacks. And at 102, I'm not trying to lose this, have this pick bust. So I'm playing it safe. I'm taking the guy that I think is the smartest quarterback, the most NFL ready quarterback of the three. And hopefully the Panthers can build around him. I know they signed some veterans and Adam Thielen and DJ Chark, drafted a Jonathan Mingo, signed a Hayden Hurst. So they have some weapons around him. They're not the top tier weapons, but they're enough for a rookie quarterback to at least get established in the league with something that's not complete garbage. I like what the Panthers are doing here, so I'm gonna stick with Bryce Young. Just go chalk here at 102.
What's going on, PDR? How you doing, dude? Bad hair day? Yeah, basically. I'm just, trying on a new hat for size. I have done that before. Most of the episodes where you saw me wear that other backwards hat, 100% had like an alfalfa thing going on, and I was just like, all right, this is a hat kind of vibe.
Oh, I do that
Um,
all the time, so it's fun.
yeah, I kind of agree with exactly what you said at 102. I think that's kind of a no brainer. I guess I can understand Richardson at 102, but I like
Yeah,
you just kind of want to take what I think is overall the best investment.
right,
Um,
exactly. I mean, I do think at the end of the day, Richardson has the higher upside here. Whether he hits that, I don't know, because I think he's a very raw prospect, and everyone can agree with that statement. So, like I said, I just can't have this pick bust if I'm a rebuilding team right now.
well, what's interesting to me is that I think from a scoring perspective, Anthony Richardson has a higher floor than Bryce Young because we've kind of seen it with any quarterback that can run. The real differentiator between the nasty running quarterbacks is two things. Either you're a quarterback who runs and throws like top passers in the league, or you just are a mid-tier RB2, like high-end RB2, combined with the fact that you throw the ball. Like,
Right,
so that's
right,
just crazy. Kind of like the Lamar mold has been, right? He doesn't throw for that many yards, but his rushing, he's been giving you like 1,000 yards a year, basically, and a handful of touchdowns. What's going on, Joe Bear? How you doing, dude? So I guess 103. Um, man, this is an annoying pick because I do like both Stroud and Richardson. Okay, give me Anthony Richardson.
yeah. I think that's the correct pick, honestly.
I feel like part of it is once again like in terms of liquidity compared to Stroud, Anthony Richardson is a way easier sell. And at the same time, I feel like if he plays any game he's starting, I can plug and play him. And with that rushing output potentially, uh, he gives me just a really high floor. On top of the fact, I really like him as a pocket passer. This is a really difficult pick between Richardson and Stroud. I completely see going Stroud. There might be leagues where I'm more interested in going Stroud. Like, for example, if I'm a rebuilding team looking to just take and hold a quarterback, I might take Stroud just because I'm a little bit more confident in Stroud's floor long term and value wise. But it's an interesting discussion.
Yeah, I lean Richardson at this pick as well. Um, like you said, the rushing kind of provides a floor for him. Whether he hits that capability that you would like to see him hit as a passer, that would make him a real franchise quarterback and solidify him as, a guy that's going to be in the league for a long time rather than just a guy that runs the football from the quarterback position. We could see, but I mean, he obviously has a cannon. Whether or not he could actually read NFL defenses and and make the accurate throws is something that he's going to have to prove. But I like him here at 103 just because he could potentially be like Cam Newton in 2015, just being the MVP, putting up absurd numbers week to week for you.
In your opinion, do you think that there is a tangible tier gap between 103 and 104, 105, which is Stroud and Gibbs? If you were looking to move back from 103, because I have seen drafts where Gibbs is going over Stroud and Stroud falling to the 105. I've seen drafts where Anthony Richardson is going number one overall.
Yep.
If you're one of those teams and you're like, man, like me maybe, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys Stroud and Richardson I value insanely similar. How often are you going to be able to potentially move back from 103 to 105, 103 to 104, 102 to 104?
I mean, I think it's the same conversation here as the Bijan argument, right? If we're talking about moving from 102 to 104, like those are really the three quarterback spots. So if you have two teams behind you that are comfortable with any of them, you're going to have a hard time to really convince them to try to move up here and give you an extra asset on top of it. So it's just one of those things where I don't know how much movement you're going to get unless you have a Lunas that is just in love with Anthony Richardson, right? So like if you have a guy like that, fine, like he'll trade up to 102 and you'll go down to 104 and take whoever's left between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and you'll be happy. But in most cases, I feel like you're going to have a hard time doing it, or you'll just won't get the return that'll make it worth it to you, right? If you pick up a third, someone's going to throw like, oh yeah, I'll give you a third to move two spots, and then we all get a quarterback, right? That's going to be the argument here: is what's the tangible difference between the three of them that we're all taking in the top four of the NFL draft, and they're all going to be taken in the top four of rookie drafts, like. It's just one of those things where all these guys are so similarly valued right now. I think you're going to have a hard time doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm. The reason I ask is just because, like Peter the R kind of just said, he said at the end of the last season, most people were saying Richardson would stay in school because he wasn't ready. Now he's quarterback one, and for a lot of people, I have seen people taking Richardson QB1. I'm just because I haven't seen the same for Stroud. I see no one taking Stroud.
No one's taking Stroud. No, everyone's taking. Like if
I
it's
think
not,
it might be worth looking into. If you're at 103, I think 103 especially, maybe even 102, and you're like, I don't give a shit. Just this is my quarterback pick. I'm willing to go to 104 and take whoever falls. Try to offer out a trade or two where you're picking up. I don't really know what the fuck the difference is between the picks that I would be looking for. If anyone is in chat has a good idea, all ears. But something, maybe a late second. Is that enough? A late second? Not enough? Mid second?
In mid second, I'd consider it, right? Because then you're just like, I'm taking the one that falls. So like, give me a little something, something, and that's it. Like you can at least get a Roshan Johnson in the mid seconds. You can pick up something you value, right? Like late second, you're just taking a dart throw on whoever's there. I mean.
Yeah, true. I do agree with you there. Maybe you just use it for a pick upgrade somewhere else in the draft. Like maybe you're upgrading your late first a handful of picks or something.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't mind that if you have a second first to try to move it up, trade it, even if or like, you could always use future picks. Like I would like to see do a second for a third swap next year on top of getting a 206 or something like that. Like just use it to just boost your future picks, boost your this year's picks. I don't think you're going to get a pick that you're happy with straight up, at least.
Okay. All right, so you're up at 104.
Yeah, I mean, this makes it pretty easy for me. I am going to take CJ Stroud here. I just the quarterback being taken second overall in the NFL draft, there's just to fall to 4 in a fantasy draft, not going to happen. Like too easy, no brainer.
Right. I think the stars also kind of align for me at 105 with taking Jahmyr Gibbs simply because his draft capital is just going to lead him to get pretty fed year one. So I like once again Jameer Gibbs, and we kind of talked about this the previous episode. He's just going to be an insanely safe asset, a running back who's young and who's going to get volume. Yeah, his price isn't going to be worth that of if one of the quarterbacks pans out, but fuck, like the scenario where he drastically lowers his value, even like loses any real value from here is really low.
He would have to play no snaps this year. He would have to play like 10% of the snaps to lose significant amount of value. Just because I think I brought it up earlier and I don't remember who tweeted it. I wish I could give him credit, but it was something like the running backs taken in the top 50 picks of the NFL draft. Not even the top 15, like top 50 every year in Dynasty from year 1 to year 2, they always increase in value. It's just they always do, because by the end of the season they're getting more involved in the offense, they're getting the runs they want. Then in the offseason everyone loses their mind over the next hot young running back, right? So especially now with a guy that's taken in the top 15, taken top 12 in the NFL draft, this guy is going to be bulletproof in terms of dynasty value. You will have an easy out if you don't like what you see after year one. There will be a million people buying Jameer Gibbs next offseason from if he has a horrible season, just because they're going to be like, oh, they still have to feed him, right? It's because they use so much draft capital on him, which is 100% correct, good logic. But like he's not going, his value is going to stay the same. That's the issue, is his value is not going to go down at all. So if you're sitting here at 105, it's a bulletproof pick, honestly.
Nah, JSN the move at 5 from a raw talent perspective, and if you're
Parker's just saying that because he wants he wants to hype up JSN for our home league draft anyway.
Listen, I can understand the argument that like, okay, JSN is more talented than Jameer Gibbs. Like, I honestly wouldn't terribly disagree with that when you look at just their production. But I agree with Jake and the sentiment we talked about with Bijan. If I'm a rebuilding team, I kind of just want to take the safest player. If I take Jameer Gibbs, I can sell him at his current value for an entire year and a half, probably guaranteed,
Probably
if not
more.
longer.
Probably more. Exactly. I don't think there's even a chance he loses value with the draft capital he's gotten.
So I just think more, and like as a contender, I mean, you get almost guaranteed points at a position that kind of just sucks right now. At the end of the day, if I picked up Jameer Gibbs, and I have 105 in a handful of leagues, so I'm going to be ending up with Jameer Gibbs, I imagine. Um, I'm going to be looking to tear down at some point. I don't know what the timing is, because I think selling it right now, you're probably underselling more times than not.
Say that again. Why are you underselling?
I feel like Jameer Gibbs' value is going to go up as the offseason rolls. I mean, listen, I saw him getting completely fucking hyped on Twitter today, so maybe this is the time to sell. But nonetheless, it's like I just think the hype train's going to continue, and he's going to end up being like a top 5 dynasty running back sooner rather than later.
I think he already is. I'm pulling it up right now. I'm pretty sure I think he's running back 6 right now.
Right, yeah. I think you could hold.
Oh, he's running back 5 right now, actually.
I think he could get higher than that. I honestly think he could get higher than that. So I think holding it right now and drafting him, holding him until I don't really know when until, because I feel like I'd want to hold him going into the season, because I think once again his value is going to continue to rise into the season, and you see a healthy workload out the gate. So
I agree with you. I mean, I think he's the right pick here. I just think that, like you said, there's just no way that they're not going to feed this man. They have David Montgomery there. They're going to make a nice backfield duo, and I think that's fine. Obviously, they traded away DeAndre Swift, which is kind of expected once they made this pick. Hate that he went to the Eagles, but different story.
Fucking Eagles, man.
Yeah, exactly. But again, Jameer Gibbs here, like I I just think with the draft capital difference between him and JSN, right? I know JSN is still a first rounder, but he didn't go till the pick 20. You wish he got a little higher. You know, you wanted to see him at 13 to the Packers, right? That was the landing spot everybody wanted. Yeah, I just think the running back, he's not going to decline in value, so it's just a safer pick.
So the only thing, because I actually think that JSN was a little bit underdrafted. I think he should have went higher in the NFL draft than pick
I mean, he
20.
probably should have, but
And at the same time, I think we can all agree that Jameer Gibbs was overdrafted, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, you're not going to convince me with pick 12 that Jameer Gibbs was the talent that Christian McCaffrey was, that Saquon is, and
right, he's not.
and he's being grouped in that tier of players. Even Bijan, that's where I draw the line. So if you want to take and get a receiver with whatever you're doing at 105, I think the move would be to tier down. I don't know if you can sell 105 for 106 plus to actually get JSN, because it's annoying if JSN's your target. I'm not, other than drafting JSN over Gibbs, which the reason I don't want to do it is I just feel like you're leaving value on the table. I don't know
Yeah,
how you get that
yes.
value and get into JSN, but I do know you can take Gibbs and at some point tear down into whoever the next Deontay Johnson is, whoever, just that slightly underpriced receiver, maybe the Hollywood Brown of your league or something, and gain significant value tearing down that way. I think that's the move.
I mean, so far we've talked about basically taking both of these running backs in Bijan and Jameer Gibbs and trading them away at some point, because these running backs are just so highly coveted at this point, because they're the new shiny young running back with top 12 draft capital, right? So like, I get it, but I mean, I think you're going to have a hard time trading for him, because you're going to find that guys are going to just be like, he's mine, he's my shiny new precious toy. Like, you're not going to it's just going to be one of those things where, like, sure, I'll like, I think a smart player would do exactly what you're saying and just tear down, right? They could even if they tear down into a lesser running back, because you at this point you could take Bijan and tear down into Saquon plus, and you're still getting roughly the same amount of points, right? I mean, and bearing Bijan being Christian McCaffrey 2 years ago, right, where he was putting up 30 plus a game, which, I mean, is possible for Bijan. It is one of the possible outcomes. I mean, he's incredible and he has the receiving talent to do it, but it's just unlikely that he is
Yeah.
that good.
I,
So,
I
like,
think I think you'd have a better time going a little bit unsexier in the trade and going down into someone like Ayuk, who's not that Ayuk isn't a flashy asset. Ayuk just isn't one of those multiple first level players, right?
no,
But
he's a single first, right?
in my opinion, Ayuk can easily put up 1,000 yards, 1,100
Oh,
yards.
yeah,
If
sure.
you're a contender going into Debo, his teammate, I think Debo is extremely fairly priced right now. I mean, you talk about a guy that could put up 1,500 yards next year and no one would blink, right? Like, Debo's in there. Hollywood, at least what he's valued at, it seems like another one who, yeah, he's a good player,
Hollywood
but
is,
he's not seen as this multiple. I do think that there are a lot of people that have these types of players that are looking to add, kind of like what you were saying earlier for Bijan. I think the same thing is going to happen with Jameer Gibbs. They're looking to add that final cherry on top to their roster. And right now, all these contending teams basically need it at running back. There's very few teams in dynasty
yes.
leagues where they have a running back situation where they're very comfortable short and long term, right? Their comfort might be in the fact that they have Brian Robinson as a depth piece and, players like that. I think a lot of people can be convinced into at a fair price where you as a team looking to gain value is gaining picks far out in the future and those non-multiple first yet still first round type players.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's a good way to go about it.
Or just
Speaking of,
fucking holding because they're going to go up.
that's also true. You hold and they're gonna go up. So, speaking of, at 106, I am gonna take the man we've been debating here, and that is Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, he's my wide receiver one, and I really think I don't love the landing spot in Seattle. I must say, I think it's suboptimal. Let's put it that way. Obviously, they have DK Metcalf, they have Tyler Lockett, and now they slot another first round pick into this mix. Obviously, Tyler Lockett's aging. I don't know how much time he's got left, let alone, I think he just signed a contract extension, though. So I think he has 3 more years in Seattle at least. I have to look at the dead money on that and when they could cut him. But you're not going to cut DK. He's going to be around for a while, and that's fine. I don't mind him and DK. The problem I have is Tyler Lockett, just because Tyler Lockett is going to eat targets, and that's just what it is. He's aging and he's going to eat targets, so it's a ticking clock. But at that point, do you just take someone that is going to produce right away? Because I think Jordan Addison produces right away, and I think he steps into Adam Thielen's role opposite Justin Jefferson, and he does it really fucking well. Because I think JSN is going to be one of these guys you're going to look at his production year one, and you're going to go, he's good. He had a solid year. He didn't have a great year. You know, I'm looking at 800 yards and 6 touchdowns, maybe, if that. Like, yeah, but I mean, I think JSN could really have, not JSN, Addison could step in immediately and have 1,200 yards and just fill the Adam Thielen void that was left in Minnesota. The problem here is that I just think the talent gap is favoring JSN here. I think he's too talented. He showed it, everything you want to see at Ohio State. He proved doubters wrong at the combine, being more athletic than people thought he was going to test. So if I saw an interesting thing on Twitter, which was if he just pulled a Jamar Chase here and sits out this year, he probably goes higher in the NFL draft, and he probably goes higher in rookie drafts if he just sits out this year.
I don't know about that. That is interesting. I don't really know the answer that off the top of my head. But what I do know is that while we just said all that about Jahmyr Gibbs, my ultimate, if I could make something happen strategy would be to move down from 105 at Gibbs into 106 and take JSN and get some sort of price tag difference that there actually is. I imagine I'm going to look at it right now. I'm going to go to that bulletproof site, and I guarantee you there's going to be a somewhat sizable gap between the two players.
What, for a startup ADP?
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
JSN's at 109, or sorry, 309. That's really early. He's wide receiver 11. Wow.
And where is our friend? Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs is behind. Okay, so maybe I'm on crack, or maybe this, because I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is the consensus 105 right now. I've seen him going higher than this.
I think he is. Honestly, I just think this has to be updated.
So yeah, maybe this is not updated fully. They may be very close. I could be wrong here, and this is why, like, if I had 106, like, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be paying up because I like Jason. I can see people paying up though to go pick up Jahmyr Gibbs at 105 because of what you said, Jake. And I think this is the consensus take that Jahmyr Gibbs's path to producing year one is way more crystal clear than JSN. But
Absolutely.
There's a reason I brought my hat on today. I figured it out finally.
You want to know why? Is it your tinfoil hat, Frank?
It's not because my beautiful hair is messed up. It's because this hat allows me to see the future, right? And when I give it a little bit of a shake, I'm looking into a year from now, and I think that this wide receiver room that right now looks very crowded does not look so crowded anymore, right? Like, I think that JSN comes in here and at some point during this season establishes himself as the second best or even the best wide receiver on this football team. Right? Like, I don't think that that's crazy. Yeah, Tyler Lockett's going to eat targets, but I think that the talent of JSN will prevail. And over analyzing these landing spots for the receiver, I feel like we can go back to a lot of other receiver situations that we may have overanalyzed that led to lesser talents being taken ahead of better talents. I am taking JSN. I can see the argument for taking JSN at 105. I just want to get what the market difference is between those two picks, though. I do think that there is going to be a tier gap a month from now in price tag between those two players. It might be small, but I do think that there will be a gap. I want to get paid for that. So that's why if I have 105, I'm still going to be taking Jameer Gibbs. But I can totally understand the long term. I am betting on a player 5 years from now taking JSN in that bet, in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. JSN, uh, I have to tend to agree with you that you should pick talent over landing spot because that's how you end up taking, CEH over Jonathan Taylor. That's how you end up taking. There's a million Jalen Rager over Justin Jefferson. Like, there's a million different examples of this where you go, well, the talent was better, but the landing spot's kind of iffy and things like that. So I agree. That's why I have JSN here. I might take him at 5 and just bite the bullet and say I'm not going to get the value if it came down to it. Just because I think you're right, and I do think in a year from now, people are going Tyler Lockett, who, and like it's a possibility that he's not even on the team. I think there's a chance that they trade him away. So
Right. I like if we take a look at this receiver room right now, I can make a clear argument that from an NFL perspective, the highest valued receiver on that football team is actually Jackson Smith and Jigba. Right? Like,
probably, yeah, yeah, definitely,
so
pretty easily to make that argument. I mean, people will argue DK for sure, but I mean DK also makes a lot of money, so who that's going to count into how much he's valued because at the end of the day, the NFL has a salary cap, even though it is Fugazi. The people value smaller contracts and players on rookie deals.
so yeah, I can totally see that as the course of the season goes on, we see JSN's target share grow, we see his role in the offense grow, and that when we're staring at this same situation a year from now, the coast is a lot more clear for him, and that the talent prevails. Um,
Hmm.
so, and I also think that people drastically overvalue the this guy's the wide receiver one on the depth chart of the offense, right? Like you have to be legitimately insane to put up Devonte Adams numbers, right? You don't just waltz into that. Like, yes, you can waltz into some level of production, but you don't. The only way that you differentiate yourself from being like an under 900-yard guy to like a 1100-yard plus type player is by being really fucking good and having a good season and being important to your offense.
Yeah, listen, you don't go out and draft a guy at pick 20 overall in the NFL draft to not use him. That's just what it comes down to at the end of the day.
I mean, with Charbonnet, you may do it at 52.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
We'll
beyond the
get
point.
into that one later. I'm taking Jordan Addison at
Yeah,
107. He was just my wide receiver 2 pre-draft, kind of like you were alluding to earlier. I do like the fit with the Vikings. I think that there is a clear role for him producing on a pretty pass happy attacking team. So I feel like the player and the situation reminds me of Calvin Ridley back with the Falcons,
yeah,
and
yeah.
picking him up anywhere after. I don't even think you have to go as high as 107 to pick him up and or have him fall to you in a handful of leagues. He's going to be going around there, but whatever. I like him at 107.
See, I honestly have him. This is like he's in a tier of his own to me. I think he's the clear 107 pick here.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
I had Zay Flowers in this tier pre-draft. The landing spot turned me off just because we know how I feel about the Ravens passing attack. Um, but I think Jordan Addison is the clear 107. I think these 7 players that we have taken off the board right now should be in some order the top 7 players taken in pretty much every single rookie draft.
Okay. Now
In my
you're up at
personal opinion.
108. So you're going to go Flowers here at 108, right?
I am. I am going to take Zay Flowers. I'm going to basically do exactly what I said about JSN and take talent over landing spot here, just because I think he's super talented. And although I hate the landing spot, I think he's too good to not be used in this offense.
Right. I still don't really know how to feel on Zay Flowers. I've definitely warmed up on him, but I'm just like consensus Carl on him. I agree with you. Like 108, 109, him and Quentin Johnston, it's pretty close. I really don't have like a hard lean one way or the other. I feel like if you want to go analytics perspective, a lot of those people are on Quentin Johnston's side. If you want to go towards a lot of the film people, they're on the Zay Flowers side. Landing
Right.
spots are basically fucking equal to me. Like I really don't care about either one.
I mean, I think the Chargers is probably a better landing spot tied to Justin Herbert rather than
That's why I think the
Lamar.
Ravens is better, dude. To be honest with you, you want to know
Hmm.
why? It's because the Ravens actually need someone to throw the ball 140 times to. Right? They're kind of looking for that. I mean, Mark Andrews is great, and he's gonna get a lot of targets, but they need someone on the outside that Lamar can just be like, okay, here you go. Like,
Yeah, they do. I mean, they thought that's what they had with Rashad Bateman. It's clearly not. So they're taking another swing at it. So we'll see. Hopefully, I love Zay Flowers, the player. I mean, some of his interviews post draft are just so funny, where he didn't know who plays in the AFC North. He's like, "Oh, that's hype," and I'm just like, bro, how do you not know who plays in the
that's
AFC North?
hilarious.
That's a bad idea, but he's just a fun dude, and I think he's a great player. So hopefully he pans out. But Ravens landing spot makes me push him down the board a little bit for me.
I guess I
Uh,
pick up Quentin Johnston at 109. Just I kind of scoop up the last receiver in this tier of 4 receivers that went in the first.
yep,
Um,
yeah, right in the order they went in too, right?
no,
Yeah,
Addison went last, I believe.
did he really?
I think so. Don't quote me on that though. I mean, we were ripping shots during the draft, so my memory may be a little bit phasey. I don't know. I'm not as huge on Quentin Johnston as JT is. I don't hate him either. I will say at 108, 109, 110, I do like that this range of players. I think you're getting them at favorable ADP for their price tag. And I also really like Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, who is exactly who I'm taking next, actually. I just think, obviously, with Will Levis falling to the second round, um, with Charbonnet's landing spot being so bad, I just think, especially in tight end premium, which is how we like to play, I just think he's the best pass catching tight end that we've seen in a little while. And he goes to a very high powered offense being tied to Josh Allen. It just screams a lot of fantasy upside here for Dalton Kincaid. And I think 110 for a guy that could potentially be a top 5 tight end immediately is pretty good value.
Right. I do like 110 this draft a good amount now because there's I think a sizable difference between 110 and 111 right now in drafts. Um and yeah, I agree with you. So I'm having a weird internal debate with Dalton Kincaid, which it's fine if you're picking at 110 and he's there, right? Because 110,
Yeah.
everyone else makes a decision for you. I think that this is the 10 players that I am drafting in whatever order, and you just get the 10th one at 110. But is Dalton Kincaid suffering from the fact that the other tight ends recently taken in the first rounds, bar a couple, just were not the level of prospect that Kincaid is, especially as a pass catcher, right? Like Hayden Hurst, for example. I mean, like, Kincaid's got to be a much better prospect than Hayden Hurst was. Or is this just complete recency bias?
I think he was personally, but I mean, we also have the issue that Hayden Hurst was an older prospect. Um, I don't know. Who else was taken in the first round
So
recently? I
okay,
mean,
so Evan Ingram
Hawkinson, right?
was taken in the first round, but Evan Ingram, you can make the argument right now that like if you held through that roller coaster of a ride he had, you've ended out all right. Um,
Yeah. Well, at one point he was like valued much as like a
yeah,
top
at one point he was
step.
nasty. So like,
Yeah.
and Joku is another one who, once again, very
Eh,
recently started. That one I'll definitely give you. Like if you took an
if you held
Njoku at
through,
110, you weren't happy looking back. You don't look back on that pick fondly.
yeah, you're not looking at that nicely.
Like
You're
yeah,
like
if you went through the entire train wreck until now, it's like okay, you're out on the other side, fine. But man,
but man, there was probably some players
yeah.
that you passed on that you were like, I should have taken them, you know?
I mean, yeah, there were moments where you're like, shit, should I cut this guy? Is he making the roster? Like, um, Lamar has higher career passer rating than Herbert, Flowers over Addison. I fucking hate passer rating. Can we just get this out of the
It's
way? I hate passer rating because I have had to see so many arguments of people going to Lamar's passer rating saying that he is a better passer from in the pocket than Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, no fucking shot. Right? If we are taking prime Ben, those seasons where he's putting up 5,000 yards, no fucking shot Lamar is a better passer from the pocket than Ben Roethlisberger. This dude has not passed for over 3,500 yards in a season. All right, get the fuck out of here with this. Oh, he's a better pocket passer than I think Lamar is a good pocket passer. I'm not saying he's bad. I've been saying that for like 90,000 years. But no, he's not Ben Roethlisberger. I'm sorry. Like, at least put up 4,000 yards. Give Lamar Ben's weapons and he has 3 rings. Well, guess fucking what? He doesn't have it. So, fuck off with your passer rating.
You're
It
up
just
now, Frank, at
aggravates me.
111.
I don't like 111 either. This also aggravates me.
Yeah, 111 is not a great pick at the moment. Yeah,
I mean,
I
dude,
think I know.
his offense, he had a good offensive line with Hollywood and Andrews. Like, I mean, listen, Hollywood did drop the ball a shit ton. I'll give Lamar some credit where credit is due. That probably should have been better. And like last year, guy has no help. But come on, at least not right now. He's nowhere. He's not a better pocket passer than Ben is. Than Ben at his prime was.
No.
I don't know who to take.
This pick
I don't know
sucks.
who to take. Yeah, this pick.
This
Really
pick
sucks.
truly sucks. And I'm sorry for.
It's so annoying. All right, so I think Charbonnet is legitimately in conversation here simply because of the fact that, like,
That he has the capital.
he has the like, come on, like, if I close one of my eyes over the Seahawks logo on his jersey and the Seahawks logo, the Seahawks on the spreadsheet, like, great draft for Charbonnet, right?
Yeah, except he ends up on the same team as Kenneth Walker.
It just sucks that he's like guaranteed a timeshare. I think Michael Mayer, I'm really thinking about
Yep.
here.
Yep.
But like that kind of
Unfortunately,
feels bad.
that feels real bad. But take a second round tight end in the first round of a dynasty rookie draft, that feels pretty bad.
Do I take my boy A Chain here?
Taking a third round running back in the first round, yeah, that feels bad too. But
Yeah,
at the
that feels
same
pretty
time,
bad.
I think that's who I would take in this position if I was
I mean,
you,
Will
honestly.
Levis. Do I really go Will Levis here? Can I pick his girlfriend instead? Like,
I mean,
maybe that's the real 111 this year. Listen. I have your best guess is as good as mine. I have
these
111 and
next
112 in the 3rd and 20 league, and it's just like I was really happy, and now I'm not.
Yeah, these the 111 and 112 took a big hit from the draft, but between Will Levis and Charbonnet and Mayer not going in the first round, like this is a pick that is just like, whoa. let me see what I like. You're just picking a guy that you like at this point, in my opinion, and you just kind of have to ignore the draft capital attached to him.
See, that's what's annoying me is that I still want to pick Hyatt, I still want to pick Downs, I still want to pick A Chain, but I want to pick them in the second round. That makes me feel nice and warm and fuzzy inside.
Of
I
course
don't
it
want to pick him
does.
at 111. Like that
No,
makes me feel like I'm a fucking idiot. Like
yeah,
so, uh, I don't know who to take. If I'm gonna go BPA,
you just take Sharps and move on.
fuck, I don't know. I don't know. Give me Jalen Hyatt. Fuck it.
Jalen Hyatt, interesting.
I don't know. I want to take Hyatt. I want to take A Chain, and I want to take Charbonnet. One of those players here. I was thinking about Mayer, but I just don't want to take Mayer. I just feel like I am taking a player I am never going to be able to sell for a first round pick for the next 2 or 3 seasons. He's just going to be stuck in his little Dallas Goddard world, and I'm going to be like, oh well, he's great. Like I love having him as the third tight end, and he's inconsistent, and then he's hovering around tight end 12 to tight end 9 in value, and I can never sell him.
Yeah, I mean
Trade the
that.
111 plus for Christian Watson.
Oh, is this the Christian Watson
Yeah,
guy?
yeah, it is.
Oh my
I
god,
love this
Christian.
guy.
I have Christian Watson, and I like.
Yeah, join a
I,
league with him. He'll take all your
yeah,
Christian Watsons.
please take all of my Christian Watsons. I don't want him, especially with they took Jaden Reed right in the draft, and now I'm just like, oh,
Oh, that really
this is
scares you as a Christian Watson guy?
him and Dobbs, and now I mean, what really scares me is Jordan Love, but that's a different issue.
That's a fair argument.
So yeah, you could take all my Christian Watsons. I haven't been able to sell one yet. But anyways, back to the mock. Sitting here at 112.
Slightly better than 111, still dog shit.
I'm gonna reach just along with you and take A Chain here.
Oh, you son of a bitch. See, I want to get him in the second, but I'm not going to be able to in any of my leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna be the guy that really is sitting at that 112 pick now. I just think he's such a perfect fit in Miami. And
He
obviously,
is.
all the reports coming out right now are like they brought him in for a top 30 visit. Mike McDaniel loves the guy. He basically strikes me as a young Raheem Mostert, right? That and he loves that type of player. If he could stay healthy, I just think he's the guy that and like it might take him a couple weeks because listen, they have Jeff Wilson, they have Raheem Mostert there. So he's going to be in this three-headed backfield for at least the beginning of the season. We all know Raheem Mostert's not lasting more than 6 games. Let's be honest. And Jeff Wilson has been hurt every year as well. So I just think by the end of the season, you're going to be seeing Devin Achane be the lead back on this Dolphins team that has the potential to be very good. And I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities in the red zone and a lot of opportunities to get the ball in the, to just get the ball, and they're going to be they play this up tempo offense where they're going to give the ball to Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and at some point they're going to have to slow it down and let him, pound the rock a little bit and just eat some clock. And I think they know that, and that's why they went out and got a guy that they really like here in the third round. I think they're happy that he fell that far. I think they would have traded up if they really thought he was going to go higher.
No, now I want to take A Chain at 111. Can we undo this? Yeah,
If
I
you want.
listen. You don't have to convince me to take A Chain. I was hoping that you would take some other players over him, to be honest with you. But with that being said, I'm going to take Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, that was the other guy.
So yeah, I was still thinking Downs, Mayer here. I guess Mingo is in this conversation as well now. Yeah, he went to the Seahawks. Can I just yeah, let's just listen, I'm telling you, this looks like a fan. If you just do this, how do I make it? There's the text color. Yeah, if you just do one of those, it looks fantastic. Dude, I just got a second round running back at 201. Boom. Hyatt there is a cry for help. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I already regret that pick. But I don't I think that Jalen Hyatt's gonna be a good player.
So
I don't
do
know. I
I
think that
mean,
he's gonna defy the odds.
listen, he has clear opportunity, right? The Giants' best receiver is Isaiah Hodgins, Wandale Robinson. Like he clearly is going to have an opportunity here.
No, stop. Don't do that. Come on. Perfect. Now my
No
201's the best
team.
pick in the draft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so Zach Charbonnet in my rookie drafts, I'm probably just going to be treating him as if he's there in the very early second, I'll scoop him up. If people are willing to take him at the 111, 112, then I probably won't be ending up with him. Because I do agree. I don't know. I don't know if I have A Chain over him or not, just because of the draft capital. I feel like I like A Chain more as like from my pre-draft evaluation, but there is something to be said about the dude who goes what like 20 something picks higher that a team just like was like, oh, this guy is good enough that we have a running back and we just don't give a shit. Like that's got to mean something.
Does it? It's
Come
Pete
on, it's got to
Carroll.
mean
We're
something.
talking about Pete Carroll. We're talking about the Seahawks. We're talking about a guy that plays Chris Carson when he drafts Rashad Penny in the first round. Like
I mean, dude,
what?
their second round. If we're thinking about their hit rate, it's kind of. I mean, Dwayne Eskridge back in the day in the second, like
They
that
did
was kind
take
of a
They
wacky
took
pick.
DK in the second, but
They
yeah.
took DK in the second. So maybe if it's like an off and on sort of a thing, then this is the on, right?
No, who they take last year? Because D. Eskridge was 2 years ago, so this would be the off year.
Let's see. Seahawks 2022 draft.
They may not have had a pick. I don't think they had a pick in the second because the Russell Wilson.
Oh wait, yeah, no, they went Kenneth Walker in the second. I'm on crack.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, duh. Oh, so yeah, that means this pick's horrible.
Yeah, this is D. Eskridge, man.
Whatever. All right, so I took D. Eskridge at 201. You're up at 202. Yeah, I'm just gonna scoop up Charbonnet if he's in the early second though, on a series.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take him. I'll take him if he's there. This puts me in a weird spot.
See, I think that here Mayer is another guy where it's like once the early second rolls around, I'm willing to take a guy who's going to be in that can't get a first round pick purgatory.
Oh, I'm fine with taking Mayer here, but I'm debating taking Will Levis here.
Oh, I don't know. I just don't want Will Levis. I really don't.
I don't either. The guy's a weirdo. He puts mayo in his coffee. He eats bananas with the fucking peels on. He's a wacko. um,
I guess if he
but
hits though, the astronomical value gain, right? Because he could easily go up to what probably not Daniel Jones price, but a little bit higher, not higher, a little bit lower, right? Like what Jordan Love is
yeah,
worth right now.
yeah, I mean, he could go up. I mean, if he actually hits, right, he could go up to, I think, probably Daniel Jones price is a good good comp there. But I'm gonna take. I am gonna take Mayer here. I
Yeah,
just
that's a
think he.
solid pick. It's like the anti-Levis pick. It's literally the anti-Levis.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he does have clear path to targets, right? They traded away Waller. They draft Mayer. It seems like a safe pick in a super flex league to me. Yeah.
I listen. I'm not. Hyatt and Downs, I just can't give up on. I'm either going to be really happy about it or I'm going to get burned by it because
I like Josh Downs and I like the landing spot in Indy. So
I don't know.
I
I refuse to believe that all the teams had them valued that lowly. So like, yeah, I'm still going to be taking Josh Downs and Jalen Hyatt over Rashi Rice and Jaden Reed. Mingo is the one that I'm still considering right now. As you see, I took them over Mingo, but I really liked Mingo pre-draft. I'm just not sure I'm willing to put him that highly now.
right. Yeah, I mean Mingo, if you look at all the advanced numbers, he shouldn't be any good, but the hit rate on this first receiver taken in the second round has been fucking crazy the past couple of years, right? We even go you see T Higgins was the first receiver in the second round. I think Michael Pittman was the first receiver in the second round. Um, maybe not that. I think that was the same class. I don't know, but the receiver taken first in the second round has been very good the past few years, and I think people are going to try to throw Jonathan Mingo in that, despite all the actual hard facts that say he's a bust, and they reached on him significantly.
I will say when you watch Mingo play, he looks fantastic, right? He does look the part on film, and that's kind of what got me into him. I'm just not willing to take Mingo higher than like a 203, 202, which I think
Right,
people are taking him 201 and potentially in the conversation at 112 because of this 112 shit show that we have going on.
right, yeah. All right, that puts me up, right?
Are
That
you going to
puts
go
me.
Levis here? Because 204, like 203, 204 is the picks I start considering Levis. I don't go with Levis any higher than that.
I'm between Levis and Kendry Miller. I think I'm gonna go Kendry Miller.
Oh, you're going Kendra Miller. Mingo went 40 picks ahead of Downs. The NFL thinks he's better. Yeah, you're right about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm a fucking idiot. That listen, I don't claim to be the smartest guy in the room, so I could just be lighting my draft pick on fire here. But
I
I
mean
think
that
that Josh
means
Downs is a fantastic player.
it means that the Panthers thought he was that much better, but doesn't mean the rest of the NFL thought that. But yeah, Kendra Miller here. Tough landing spot, I thought, but people like it. I don't understand why people like this landing spot in New Orleans for him. But he got the draft capital. I like the prospect. Um, just kind of going off talent on this one. I just think he's going to get some run in this offense with Derek Carr quarterback. I think and is Kamara going to be suspended? He probably is going to be suspended, right?
Yeah, I'd believe so. I'd be surprised
So
if he wasn't.
yeah,
I honestly,
so
I think that Kendra Miller. I don't know because I liked Jamal Williams back in the day. I will give you credit where credit's. I'm not sure I would go this high on Kendre, but the fact that he got third round draft capital after that major injury and missed the entire like process, the entire offseason for these draft guys. And for me, when I watched Kendre, his athleticism was already one of my biggest concerns. So not being able to test and have a team take you as a running back in the third round and over a lot of those other running backs that were super athletic that did test really well, that was a very encouraging sign to me. It might be one of these scenarios where it's like the talent ends up prevailing, that this guy on film and by the numbers was a fantastic running back. Once again with the craziness of the running back position, a year from now, this backfield could be different. Like, I don't think it will be, but it could, right? Like, Kamara was definitely felt like it started getting phased out last year, and that new offense didn't really want to have that receiving back, right? They kind of wanted a dude in between the trenches. Jamal Williams just isn't that dynamic of a back. He's a fantastic player. If you want him to run in between the tackles, he's great. But he just doesn't give you that true versatility that the better NFL running backs do. Kendra Miller might be that perfect mix that they're kind of looking for and why they picked him up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's you don't really take a back like you said that is coming off a major injury like that in the third round um, without loving him. So
I appreciate it, Skull. Yeah, I don't know. I think there were first off, Zach Wilson went second in the draft. Like a ton of people thought he was fantastic. Like I don't think that Zach Wilson failed because of his skill set. I think he failed because I mean quarterback is a tough position to play. I think if you did the process over again with another Zach Wilson, he would still go really high in the draft. Um, for the modern quarterbacks, he fit basically everything you wanted to do, other than the fact that he escaped the pocket way too big. Like, yeah, his issues with dealing with pressure ended up being massive, right? Like, but I think that kind of just happens, right? It's that element of scouting that is just hard to do, right? And I think same thing with Tutu Atwell, right? Tutu Atwell, there were a lot of people that thought Tutu Atwell was a first round talent, like a lot of really respected draft analysts. So there was definitely reasons to believe that Tutu Atwell could have succeeded. It's just, I mean, listen, sometimes you just can't. You just can't really. I mean, there's just like a fucking risk, right? And also, Tutu Atwell's not necessarily done. You have to remember for these second round receivers, if they ever break out, it's just as likely as in year three as in any other year of their career. But yeah, D. Eskridge, I agree with you. I think that was kind of a bait. I think that was kind of a bait. But once again, he had a fantastic Senior Bowl, right? Like I don't know, like I feel like for as many of the examples where it's like, oh, we thought they were bad prospects, you can point to guys that did succeed that came from a similar either production profile or physical skill set or traits that you liked on tape. Um, but yeah, like draft capital is one of the best measures that we have, but it also is not perfect because the teams aren't drafting players for fantasy points. They're drafting them for trying to
for
give
real
them an
football,
element to their offense to win football games.
correct. I mean, like we've seen it. There's a whole bunch of players that are, better for your football team than they are for fantasy football, and that's just kind of something that people have to realize when these teams go out and draft a guy higher than you think, and you think that they're going to be these great fantasy players, and they turn around and they're just a blocking tight end rather than the pass catching tight end everyone thought they were. So I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios here, but uh, like you said, draft capital is a big gauge for the dynasty community as a whole, but it can't be the only thing you use here.
I actually wonder what is more predictive of fantasy success if you take the order that the players were drafted in or if you take rookie ADP. What
It's a
has
great
a
question. That's something I would have to deeply look into. I have no idea.
am I up here at 205?
Yep.
Do do
You gonna do
do.
finally take Levis?
Um, fuck. Do I take Levis? Do I take Levis or do I take Mingo?
Mingo.
I
I don't
kind of
know.
want to take Mingo. I'll go Will Levis. I'll bite the bullet here.
Yeah, I mean, ended up going what 34th or something like that. 33rd, 34th.
Yeah, 33rd. I don't know. It once again, this is just kind of like to me the hold your nuts and hope it works out kind of pick because I think that Tannehill's right now better than him. And if I'm the Titans and I'm trying to win games, I'd rather play Tannehill until he's not on the
Oh,
football team. But
the
fact of the
thing is, I
matter
don't.
is that this range of quarterback has hit before. Will Levis,
Yeah.
I think Will Levis is a better prospect than Drew Lock was. Um, I think positionally draft capital has a higher hit rate, but you have to adjust for NFL positional value. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, fantasy ADP is partly, or rookie ADP is partly correlated with where the guys got drafted. So there's probably a ton of overlap there. Pre-draft, 100%, the NFL draft capital is going to be higher than what the rookie ADP is for dynasty people. But I also think, like, once again, there's factors that we just don't get information on.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see the medicals, we don't see the team interviews, we don't see any of this stuff. So like that's why a lot of these guys go higher because they test well, on like the S2 test or the Wonderlic test or whatever the new test is that these people take, and they interview well with teams and things like that. That'll boost a lot of players' values, at least to specific teams, I should say.
Yeah, you are right about that. You have to adjust for. Yeah, yeah, I'm. Yeah, so if you just do the if we take rookie ADP um by position, the like, so the order that they go in versus the order that the NFL draft took them. I think you're right. I think the NFL draft would hit better the order that they're drafting the NFL, but I don't know. I'd be curious to look at it from a numbers perspective because I can think of just as many examples in either way. You're up at 206.
206. Who am I taking? I'm actually gonna take Rashi Rice here.
Ooh, interesting. Going on the Rashi train.
This might be complete bait and buying into the Chiefs way too much. But I think he fits what they want to do, right? So, I mean, they have a lot of fast guys here in between. They lost Mikol, but they still have Kadarius Tony. They still have Sky Moore, and I think Rashi Rice fits in with that group. And I don't think he's. I think he's probably just as talented as those guys that we're mentioning. So someone's got to catch the ball, not named Travis Kelsey on this offense, and I think there's a good chance that it's Rashi Rice.
Right. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on Rashi Rice because early in the process, I really liked him. I think his film is decent.
Right.
And he kind of profiles as a dude that you're right. You can just kind of throw the ball to. He reminded me of D Hop a little bit, where he was great at contested catches, but
No
simultaneously
separation.
underrated with the ball in his hands, right? You just, when you watch him play, you just don't expect like throwing it to him on a screen pass to be so effective. And he almost kind of like doesn't wow you with his physical ability, yet he still has it in his tools. So like it's a really interesting skill set he provides. I just I don't know. I just haven't really bought into him over the other receivers going around.
See, the thing is, it came down to me between him and Mingo, and I'm just gonna go with the guy that's tied to Patrick Mahomes. At the end of the day,
I had Mingo higher rated going in. I think I would still lean Mingo. Rashi Rice is a guy that I'd probably just want him to fall to me more in like the mid late second than
so like just swap the two picks.
I think I might still have Tajay Spears over Rashi Rice.
Ooh, Tajay Spears. Those reports of his knees are scaring me so bad.
Listen, if there's anyone who's going to buy a running back with no knees, it's this guy.
Thanks, Todd Gurley.
Come on, you know me by now. I don't give a fuck about them knees. But I would take Rashi Rice over Laporta and these other tight ends. I'd take him over. Mims is close, but I'd take him over Reed. I'd probably take him over Tillman and all these other dudes. But I probably just like consensus on him, all things considered.
Yeah. That leaves me up here at 208. And I am going to take Marvin Mims.
You saying fell too far in this mock draft? Listen, I don't completely disagree with that. I just am not sure I'm gonna be the dude that's taking him that higher.
Yeah. That's the issue. I mean, I think a lot of people have him at this 111 pick that we ended up taking Jalen Hyatt and Devin A. Chain at 12. Like, I understand if you take him there, but the hit rate on these second round quarterbacks is just so low. Yes, you have people are going to point to Jalen Hurts and go, but he was a second round pick. And you go, yeah, but look at the rest of the guys that have been second round picks at quarterback. And about 99% of them are straight garbage and are out of the league in like 3 years. So, am I going to be the guy to spend a late first, early second on that guy? Absolutely not. I'd rather someone else do it and just play the field other than that, right? I'd rather take all these receivers, all these running backs that we've been taking, um, even tight ends, right? We took Mayer and, in that range as well. I could see the argument if you wanted to throw a Laporta in there and say, okay, that's fine. Like, Will Levis is a weird one, and I think I'm more comfortable taking him at this like 203 to 205 range. I think that's a fine range for him.
Rice sucks. I don't know, these other tight ends, these Laportas and Musgraves and Schoonmakers. I think I want to wait until the late second to start taking my shots on them, and then just start taking shots on them in the third.
Yeah.
Am I up at 209 here?
Yep, you're up.
All right, I'm going to take
Marvin
Ty
Mims. Yep.
I think that there's a nice little crop of running backs here that I like in the late second, the most being Tajay in this mock, but Kendre might be around there. I think Roshan is very interesting in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'd take him around there. And Tank Bigsby, I don't know if I'm taking Tank Bigsby in the late second, but I will say, man, that is a really interesting landing spot for a team that, in my opinion, needed a running back that could run in between the tackles a little bit more effectively. I mean, we saw at points and in games during the season last year where ETN was losing out on more workload than you would expect to guys like Ogumbawale and things of that nature, right? Like Tank Bigsby is a better running back to me than them. He has more upside. Consistency is a huge issue, but if he's able to solve that up, he has committee potential to be like a running back too for you.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of the few that actually thought this was a nice landing spot for Tank Bigsby. I think him paired with ETN is going to be one of the better backfields in the NFL. Actually, I think they really provide that the difference, with the ETN being the pass catcher and having Tank Bigsby just be Tank Bigsby, right? Run between the tackles, give him a pitch outside, like let him be him and just take the contact and stuff like that. That's fine. I think it's a good landing spot, but I am going to go with Roshan Johnson here at 210. I thought this was an even better landing spot because everyone's hyping up Khalil Herbert, and I get it. But at the end of the day, I just think this is the guy that's going to lead this Bears backfield in rushing attempts. I think he's going to be a day one starter for them. I think by the time training camp hype comes around, people are going to realize that. And I do expect him to kind of shoot up these draft boards a little bit.
I think I agree with you. I think Roshan just has like a clear path to being the top guy there if he's good. Then basically any of the running backs that we've taken over him, it's just I like those other guys more. I'm gonna go Tank Bigsby here at 211.
Yeah, that's the next pick.
Right, like in my like personal mock, I have a big slew of running backs just going here for me at this like middle to end of the second. So yeah, these are the dudes that I think that like, especially like handcuff value. If the dude above them gets hurt, I do think that they have that bell cow potential if they're thrusted into the RB1 role.
Yeah.
212 is a little bit awkward looking at the board.
I'm gonna go Tank Dell.
Okay. I honestly forgot about him.
Two guys named Tank back to back. What are the odds of that? But listen, if you got GM Stroud here calling out his shots already, I expect them to use him. And I like Tank Dell. Obviously, he's a smaller guy, but I think that kind of fits here. You're gonna get Nico Collins on the outside. You probably get a healthy John Mechie on the other side, and Tank Dell over the middle. I think this is an interesting offense now with CJ Stroud, and I'll buy in a little bit at the end of the second here.
Okay, I'm gonna start taking shots at tight ends, and I'm gonna just go with the draft capital landing spot. Kind of makes sense in Sam Laporta. Went like very surprisingly, he was the tight end 2 in the draft, correct? Yeah, he was the second guy drafted. Obviously, why I like Mayer more is I like that Raiders landing spot way more. I also think that Mayer is just better. But Sam Laporta is a dude that, like, this very early third round, if he's on the board, I will gladly scoop up.
Fair enough. This is an interesting one. Where do I even go with this pick? This pick is a tough one.
Would you like to know who I would pick? Would that help you?
Maybe.
I would go Luke Musgrave.
Really?
Right.
Really? Okay. That's interesting.
I think that Luke Musgrave might be one of my higher drafted players this year, given his ADP landing spot and draft capital combo. I think he's consistently going in the third, and I do value him closer to like a second round type of dude.
I do like Musgrave's tape, and I think he did land in a nice spot. Oh, fuck it. I'll go with it, right? Just a mock anyway. Start snagging these tight ends.
Yeah, I would take Luke Musgrave at like 212. So anything later than that, I'm pretty happy with. Shit, I don't know who to take here. Jaden Reed. I'm thinking about Jaden Reed here at 303. Tillman, I'm thinking about. I mean, where does Hendon Hooker start coming in play? I don't really want to take him,
he's in play right now. I was thinking about it, but I just couldn't do it.
I think it's a little too early for Chase Brown.
Where does Kayshawn come into play?
Probably more towards the late third for me.
It really sucks that Izzy Abanaconda is dead.
Man, I don't know who to take. Like, do I keep my theme of going off NFL draft? Because I want to take Tillman. I think Tillman might be my favorite player on the board here.
I think that's probably where you go.
But I could be a draft capital truther. I'll go Tillman. Fuck it. Yeah, I'll go Tillman. Why not? I mean, if we're really talking about a landing spot that I fucking hate, it was this one here with the Browns and Tillman.
Yeah.
This is just ugly. It's ugly all around. Like, imagine if Tillman got taken where Rashee Rice did by the
people will be losing their minds.
Yeah, people will be losing their shit. And now he goes to the Browns. It could be the same fucking pick that the Browns took him at. And yeah, it just sucks because his path to relevancy is just clouded. But it could still happen. If I could pick him up in the third round, I'd be happy about it. Fact of the matter is, I just Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper are better. There's no doubt in my mind, as prospects, they are better players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Joku's still going to get his annoying 80 targets, right? And it's going to be inconsistent as shit. And he's going to have his couple of games where he goes completely nuclear. And I still think that David Bell is going to hang around. I still think that Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to hang around.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to hang around. David Bell might be dead.
Like, I don't know. Tillman really has to like ball out to like pan out his rookie year. Or Elijah Moore has to be a complete shithead. that would help.
That would help. I am going to go Jaden Reed here, though. My pick at 304.
Yeah, that's a good pickup.
Just seems like a good value at 304. Just two, not many other guys on the board that I really like. And I do think Jaden Reed has an opportunity in Green Bay, at least. I don't know how it's all going to hinge on Jordan Love. If Jordan Love stinks, it doesn't matter who's playing wide receiver. So we'll see.
I'm trying to see who I want to pick here.
I think I'd go Schoonmaker.
I was thinking Schoonmaker. I was thinking about scooping up more tight ends here. Yeah, I'll go Schoonmaker. I don't know. I think Schoonmaker may be a fucking bait, though.
The Dallas landing spot is just nice, though.
Yeah, I agree, but what if it's just a bait? What if it's just a freaking huge bait and he's just mid as shit?
Most tight ends are, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just struggled. Like, I honestly think that Peyton Hendershot has got a pretty darn good shot of starting over Schoonmaker, and I can't get a penny for Peyton Hendershot. Meanwhile, I have to pay $305 for Loon Schoonmaker. Like, yeah, he's got the draft capital. Cool. I don't know. I'm just not really a Schoonmaker guy. I'm taking him purely because he got drafted by the Cowboys in the second round. That is the only reason I'm picking him.
Yeah, pretty much. I
guess with that argument, Brenton Strange has got to be coming off the board sooner or later then. Because, like, he went in the second round. He just happens to be behind a dude. I guess his path to relevancy, though, right? Especially if the tight ends take at least a year or two to develop, right? He's just going to sit behind Evan Ingram, and then he's got a shot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Feels gross.
Who do I go here? I am going to do it. I'm going to take Kayshawn. You can yell at me.
Listen, I think this is a round where Kayshawn starts going, is somewhere in this third. This third round gets ugly pretty quickly, it looks like.
Yeah. Realistically, after the tight ends go, it's getting ugly.
A lot of these running backs just shooting his bait. The Cowboys are tight end merchants. Yeah, they are tight end merchants. You got the new OC, so like maybe they don't go like, oh, red zone, we're going 9 tight end sets. But oh, dude, on one of my best ball leagues, me and Parker, he's in the chat. We have a league, and we just had an army of tight ends for our 2 tight end best ball. And I'll tell you what, the Cowboys were great for that. I think we had 2 of those dudes. Like, we just didn't have Schultz, but it was perfect because you never know which tight end was going to be the guy to score that week. And yeah, those like your Peyton Hendershot, your whoever, surprisingly got that odd touchdown more often than you would expect.
Yeah, it sucked being a Dalton Schultz, guy. So here we are.
So yeah, maybe he just joins the wasteland of the tight end wasteland
Probably.
within the wasteland of the Cowboys tight end wasteland. It's like wastelandception.
It's a wasteland. It's the wasteland of the wasteland tight ends.
Yeah. All right, I'm up at 307. I'm gonna go.
Probably Hendon Hooker at this point.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about him, and I'm gonna take him. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this pick is weird. I understand why the Lions did it. I do kind of like Hendon Hooker. It's just it's a long shot. Honestly, Hendon Hooker probably should have gone earlier. Now that I'm thinking about it, but whatever. 307, I like it.
All right, I'm gonna take Tyler Kraft here, or Tucker Kraft. One of these Green Bay tight ends has to be good.
Yeah, right.
So I'm gonna take a shot on both here. I do think Musgrave is the more likely pass catcher option here, but Tucker Kraft also had some good film, and one of them is gonna hit, and I just don't know which one it is. I'm hoping it's kind of a Hayden Hurst, Mark Andrews situation where the second one they take is better, but who knows?
I'm gonna pick up. I'm gonna pick up Michael Wilson here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I actually did really like Michael Wilson's tape. I noticed him like a year ago, I believe. Watch, maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know. There was that crew of like three Stanford receivers that went very late in the draft slash undrafted. And yeah, I liked Mike Wilson from there. He got higher draft capital than I honestly expected. Interesting landing spot in Arizona. It's a little crowded, but fuck it. At this point, you got to just take anyone you halfway believe in.
Yep, and that's where I'm at. So, speaking of halfway believing in a guy, I am gonna take Sean Tucker here.
Okay.
Um, his medicals must have been so bad to go completely undrafted, but I still think I don't like Rashad White. I just think he also has a path to relevancy here playing behind Rashad White, and they cut Leonard Fournette on this Bucks team. So 310, basically a fourth round pick. I'm gonna roll the dice on a high upside play.
I'm gonna pick up Israel Abanikanda here.
Ugh. I love Izzy, but the landing spot is just so bad.
I don't know. I don't think it's horrible because Brees Hall coming off the injury. Once again, if we're talking about a running back with potential handcuff value, here we're at the end of the third round, start of the fourth. I'll take
massive handcuff value for sure.
So yeah, I'll gladly take Izzy at this point in the draft. I'm not really personally a huge Izzy guy, but here it's fine to me.
Yeah. What am I? It's what, 312 now?
You're at 312.
I am gonna take Tyler Scott, I think.
Yeah, he got that interesting landing spot in Chicago.
Yeah.
Athletic dude.
I mean, this Bears receiving core, they obviously add DJ Moore. They still have Darnell Mooney, still have Chase Claypool. So it's a crowded room at this point, but you know, at 312 you can't really go wrong. I just think if any of those guys go down, he's going to be playing a lot. So we'll see what happens.
Right, yeah, and that's like his draft capital is decent. but because of that crowded room, that he just right now is not gonna be above Claypool and Mooney. I do agree,
No,
right? Like there are ways. Like first off, I don't think Claypool's that good. Maybe it's because
no.
I'm a
I mean,
grumpy Steelers fan,
if
but like
to
if
me, like
he's
Tyler
nasty, he
Scott
plays over
is
Claypool.
sure. I
Same thing
just
with
think
Mooney.
Tyler Scott is the perfect taxi player, right? To me, where he's just like he has the potential, super athletic, the has an opportunity somewhat because Claypool has his doubters, Mooney has their doubters. Like he has a legit shot here. He had decent draft capital. Um, so I mean, I would love to throw him on my taxi and just let him marinate for a year.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Chase Brown here at 401. I'm not a huge fan of Chase Brown, but I guess once again the handcuff value. I'll
Mm,
pick him up there.
fair enough. I am gonna go Xavier Hutchinson.
Yeah, that's an interesting pickup there. He's a late round guy that I kind of like snatching.
Um, this Texans receiving room really doesn't have any shape at this point to me, right? You have a guys in um, Nico Collins, you have Tank Dell, you have John Mechie, you have Xavier Hutchinson. It's very young, and I really think any of them can snatch that wide receiver one spot if they play well enough. So take a shot on one of them.
Yeah, similar vein. A.T. Perry kind of liked this tape. It's unfortunate that he got day 3 draft capital, but just gonna take a shot on him because I like the tape a little bit.
Yep, I'm gonna go Eric Gray here at 401, 404. Handcuff value to me. I think he's the clear Saquon handcuff at this point. So um, grab him here at 404.
Yeah, I do like that, especially if you have a fourth round pick as a Saquon owner that you can snatch him up. You might as well because I think Eric Gray is a better player than he's going to get drafted at simply because he's not going to be the starting back over
He
Saquon.
doesn't even like unless Saquon gets hurt, he's never going to see more than a couple carries a
Right.
game. Like that's just the fact of the matter. I do think he's a better player than he's going to get drafted for. If he had a better landing spot, I could see him going, a round earlier, potentially sneak into the back end of a second round if he had a great landing spot. But being behind Saquon, it kind of kills him. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I'm
good
going to
one.
pick up Puka Nakua. Interesting player at a BYU. Good size, speed, ball skills. This is a dude that I'm probably going to be trying to target at the fourth round of my drafts. I think that the stars are aligning for a player like this, and is definitely worth a dart throw.
Yep, I'll go Deuce Vaughn. I spelled that wrong. Um, I'm just not a big Pollard guy, honestly. I think he's overrated in Dynasty for a 26-year-old running back or whatever he is at the moment. I know he didn't take a lot of beating early on in his career because Zeke, but he's older than people think, and I just think, might as well take a stab here at Deuce Vaughn.
To be honest, completely forgot that Darnell Washington was on the board. I will scoop him up here.
Yeah, definitely would have gone over some of those other tight ends that we took. Yeah,
But
he
this
should
just
have.
goes to show you how unappealing this landing spot in Pittsburgh is.
Yeah, I mean, he probably should be somewhere around where we took
Yeah, I
Schoonmaker
just
at
I
3.
just put yeah, I just put him in the third round, probably right around like Hooker, Kraft, like this Michael Wilson, Tucker, Abanaconda. I just shove him up there. Yeah, put him to the side, honestly, because
I mean, we could just go like this. So where do you want to put him?
no, it's fine. It's whatever. Let's just finish it up because we only got a handful of picks left. I'll just keep him there. Boom.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll just keep him there. See, this is why we need JT, because I'm just so used to JT scooping up Darnell Washington that I don't even have to pick him.
very true. Well, yeah, I can't believe we let that happen. Just completely missed that one. Yeah, I'll take Zach Evans. I not a fan, but it's so late that it is what it is.
Right. At this point, I'm going to go with Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Really, I like DTR, but he's never gonna play.
Right. Yeah, I think at this point, like towards this back half of the fourth round, is where I like scooping up potential backup QBs. Right, the ones that I like in the draft that if they play, at least I think they could be somewhat fantasy relevant. So I'll scoop him up there.
You know what I'm gonna do right now because the Seahawks make no sense. I'm taking Kenny McIntosh.
He could have a role in that team. They've been looking for receiving back. It's just Charbonnet's probably going to be the shoe in to be the guy, but
I mean, if
McIntosh,
they,
he's a good fucking player.
great player. I loved his college tape. Obviously, not as athletic as you want, and that's why he fell a little bit. But listen, we've seen the Seahawks do it with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. I'm just gonna take any running back that he takes because he does not care about draft capital whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm going to scoop up Hayner here, backup quarterback potentially on the Saints. I don't know, gritty player. I'll pick him up at the end of the fourth. All right, you got the last pick here, Jake.
Ooh, give me. I'll take Dwayne McBride. I mean, this is more of a speculation of the Vikings are going to cut Dalvin at some point, and someone has to take the reins at this running back position. I think it's going to be Alexander Madison. And I like Ty Chandler that they took last year, and I'm just going to continue to draft Vikings running backs. I think late in the draft, just because eventually someone's going to be the guy.
I will say, like Dwayne McBride, the obvious massive red flag is like the complete lack of pass catching.
Oh yeah, he has bricks for hands, but
as a pure runner, I do agree with you. Like Madison, definitely more seasoned in the NFL. He's going to get the nod. But if Dalvin is not there, I just don't think that Madison is actually a good enough NFL back to lead that team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if they end up parting ways with Dalvin, which is seeming more and more likely just based on his cap number and things like that, and his unwillingness to renegotiate anything like that. So if that was to happen, I think Madison gets the first crack at this running back one spot in Minnesota, but I do think both Ty Chandler and Dwayne McBride would get a role at least. I mean, get an opportunity to earn some snaps, earn some carries, earn some receptions here.
I like that kick returner guy, Keenan Wangwu or whatever. Is he still on their roster?
Yeah, but he's just gonna be. I think he's gonna just be. He's just a pure speed guy that is a great kick and punt returner, special teams guy. I don't think they're going to really give him many opportunities here at the running back spot, but I could be completely wrong. What do I know?
I liked what I saw at him. I thought that he should have got a fair shake, but I see Madison. Who's that freaking Rams guy that Lunas was in love with? The running back that started last year.
Kyron Williams.
No, not Kyron Williams. He played at
Oh,
Memphis.
Daryl
Daryl
Henderson.
Henderson. Yes, I think that Madison is a Daryl Henderson type of player.
Yeah.
Where
Yes, I agree.
like he's just too inconsistent, and he's just bait enough that a team is like, you know what? Madison can be the guy for us. We're going to budget here at the running back position. We got a nice young guy in Madison. And then all of a sudden, you've started him, and halfway through the season, you're like, holy shit, this is a problem. Like, our
We
running
have
back position
no
is not
running
good. Like,
position. Yeah.
so, all right, there's the mock. Yeah, that's about. I mean, we've went through a lot of players here, so if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for showing up in chat. Definitely adds to the episode. So we love you guys. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you next Tuesday. Peace out. Have a good one.